Hi folks. So first video for about 4 days, and only because last night somebody commented on one of my videos. It was one talking about Chris Blackerby. This person accused me of attacking Chris Blackerby because I'd said that in the past I'd recommended him, but I can't do so now. Because he makes massive long talks where God has given him a certain amount of information, and Chris is asked to do these massive talks and he says yes. And yeah, he makes these massive talks with a tiny bit of what God said in it. Yeah. Well, the person said I was attacking him, saying because he makes huge videos and because of his jokes. Because he's making jokes. No, I never said he's making jokes. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point of it is that, no. If you think that I'm attacking someone, or wrong for attacking the church or whatever, best thing to do is, if you're going to come at me about it, come at me with truth. Don't lie. Don't make stuff up in order to try and win your point, like this person did last night. Don't do that, because what you're doing is, you're just bringing that issue back to the front of attention. I've not made a video for 3 days because I didn't have anything to say. God has not given me anything to say. But that person last night just did. Because I had to go to God about it again. When I went to God about it again, God said, okay. He said, it's like me giving you a cup of water. And what you can do, you can present that cup of water to the world and say, look at this. This is an amazing cup of water that God has given. It's pure. It's heavenly. It's heavenly water. It's going to taste like nothing's ever tasted before on earth. This is direct from heaven. Have a little taste of that. Right? Because then I'm pointing to God. I'm saying this is what God has given. What Chris and other people like Chris do, they take that cup of water, they chuck it into the sea. And they say, look at what I've given. Look at what I've done. Because basically, in a 3-hour video, Chris is talking about how wonderful, how intelligent, how clever he is by putting all of this together. Now, even though in the video he may speak about God, he may even glorify God to a certain degree. You can have that situation where you're glorifying God to a certain degree or you're glorifying God completely. Chris had the chance to glorify God completely. And he watered it down. Simple. He diluted the word that God gave him by cutting it up and mixing it into all this stuff. Now again, I understand it. I understand. I've got enough over the past couple of years. I've got enough now that I could easily do a 3-hour talk. Easily do a 3-hour talk on what God has given. No problem at all. 3 years worth. I could easily, even with what's on the car, I could give 3 hours at least, 5 hours at least. I could talk about the things on the car. That's what I've been given over the past 3 years. I could talk about the things on the car. And I could be talking for 6-7 hours. Easily, no problem at all. But I know and I understand. That's why even on the car, you've got stickers, and each sticker has one of the points that God has given me. Why? Because that's the point. You can just read one sticker, can't you, on a car? One sticker can get your attention, and on each sticker, there's an important point. And if someone can read that and take that away, great. That's the whole point. It's not about me. It isn't. Yeah. So, there you go. That's the point. But as I say, If you think I'm attacking a certain point, then yeah. Look, if I'm wrong, point out I'm wrong. Go for it. But don't lie. Don't accuse me of doing things that I never did. Yeah, I'm perfectly capable of listening back over the video I did and seeing whether I lied, and I didn't. I listened back over the video and I knew, well, hold it, he's accused me of things I didn't even do. No, as I say, the reality is, you know, I mean, Chris Blackerby is, you know, for worldly talkers, I think he's one of the better ones. Yeah, for churchy sort of talkers, he's definitely one of the better ones. But the problem is, he's still churchy. It's still very churchy. His message is designed around pleasing everyone, not offending anyone. And again, that's okay. That's where he is, and that's okay. The thing of it is that when he gives his testimony about when he stopped being a pastor and he went to, I think, Asia, an Asian country, and he was trusting in God and leading upon God, he had the opportunity coming out of that of really bringing something that could glorify God. And yeah, look, the reality is, as I say, it's possible that he did exactly what he's supposed to do. That everything was done exactly in the way it was supposed to be done. That's the point. Maybe. Because maybe what he's supposed to be doing is he was supposed to be a bridge from how the church was doing things to how God wants to do things. Maybe that's the case. Because certainly it's a case that when he was, the things he was talking about was, a lot more powerful than what you get in most churches. Yeah, he was. But again, the thing of it is, he was ignoring anything that talks about the falling away. He ignored that. Anything that talks about the cut-off, he ignored all of that. So anything that could be taken as offensive, he ignored all of that. He skipped away from that. When he talked about the churches and different churches, he referred to them as the 60-fold, or the 30-fold, the 60-fold, and the 100-fold. So therefore, the ultra-religious churches are the 60-fold. No, they're not. They have no fold at all. None. Zero. None. The majority of them are of no fold at all. They don't get any fruit because they're not bearing any fruit. But the way he talks is every church bears fruit. Every church gets 30, 60, or 100. No, that isn't true. It ignores when the Lord talks about any branch that does not bear fruit is cut off and thrown in the fire. He ignores that completely. And the reason why he ignores it is because that's offensive. Because people get offended by stuff like that. And again, okay, maybe again he was supposed to bring stuff that was nearly that, but not quite. I don't know. As I say, I can't say he wasn't doing things according to the way God wanted him to do things. Because I don't know. What I can say is, the way that God does things wasn't the way that Chris was doing things, or as he will do things now. Because, a lot of people learn how to please people, and when they please people, they like the results, they like the praise, they like, people saying what a good job they've done, they like the pats on the back. So, in the end, does he have his reward? That's the point. I don't know. In the end, the only person who can show that is Chris. For the way he does things now. So therefore, I wish him well. I hope that he comes to a point where he can do better. For his own sake. So you take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Be blessed and be a blessing, and have a fantastic week ahead. Bye-bye.